Love is Dead. And to tell you more about it is Brett Ryback and Jeff Luppino-Esposito.
What's up, everybody? So happy to be here. I'm calling in from LA right now. I'm Jeff Luppino-Esposito. I use he, him pronouns.
And I'm Brett Ryback, currently calling in from Chicago, but normally in LA. Also use he, him pronouns. And we are the writers of Love is Dead, a comedy about a heartbroken woman and a sexy ghost.
That's right. Our main character, Jordan, has just gone through a really awful breakup. So she goes to spend a long weekend up in the Hudson Valley, sort of a bit of a life reset moment. She discovers that her Airbnb, her rental, is haunted by an obnoxious and obnoxiously attractive ghost named Cody.
Her life is falling apart. His already did. What begins as a battle of wills blossoms into mutual affection and supernatural sexual experimentation between woman and ghost. And maybe together they can overcome the existential horror of dating and romance in the modern age.
It is a horror. As two happily married guys, we are so delighted to not have to navigate that, but we feel for our characters, and we are so excited to be bringing the show to NAMT. We actually, in many ways, wrote it with NAMT in mind. We were trying to create something specifically for theaters with smaller spaces that still wanted to program original shows. This is a 100-minute musical comedy with only three actors. So we think that's really appealing. You think of some comps, some shows we think about like 39 Steps, Gutenberg the musical, or Murder for Two, which I saw off Broadway and was actually the start of my longstanding relationship with Jeff Blumenkrantz.
And me, Jeff.
Were you the other guy?
Yeah, I don't know why I keep having to remind you of that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna remember before October. So apparently we met back then, but let me tell you about us as a writing team since then. So our first collaboration was this documentary style musical podcast called In Strange Woods, sort of true crime-ish. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify now. It got a lot of great critical attention from the New York Times, Guardian, Wall Street Journal, BBC, and Playbill.com still hasn't responded to our email requesting coverage.
But we're hoping. After that, we wrote a musical screenplay together because it was the pandemic, and we thought live theater was dead, and that film production in LA was the future. And we were wrong, and we know that now.
Yes, we regret that. We are back on the stage. That brought us to writing Love is Dead. It's this over-the-top comedy with a quirky, pop-forward, contemporary musical theater score.
The music takes inspiration from like 90s era Ben Folds, Alanis Morissette, Third Eye Blind, and it kind of mixes them together with classic musical theater references like Ahrens and Flaherty, Alan Menken, and even the Sherman Brothers, all filtered through our warped sense of humor and joy in surprising the audience as much as we can.
Right. So what motivated this story? I hinted at it earlier, the challenges of modern romance and dating, and in many ways, we wrote the piece to playfully poke fun at some of our eternally single friends who suffer through that scene. Because we are terrible at confrontation, it felt easier to write a musical, get it produced, and then invite them all to the show instead of just talking to them, maybe gently shaking them and shouting, "Love is supposed to be fun. Stop taking everything so seriously."
Last year, we did a great Equity 29-hour reading of our show at Coachella Valley Rep in Palm Springs, which was hugely valuable for our development process and very informative because the average audience member in Palm Springs is 78 and a half years old.
Yeah, that's technically true. And it was actually really useful because we were a little worried at first. Like, would our contemporary comedic sensibility, would it work with that crowd with all ages? And honestly, they loved it. It assured us that our piece would resonate with all audiences and that no matter how old you are, you can still be horny for a ghost.
Yeah, that never goes away. And that's why we wanted to bring this show to as many audiences as we can. And that's what we want to get out of this NAMT experience. We could see a major regional premiere or even a limited commercial off-Broadway run in our future, but we are honestly open to everything. We want to work with you. We want this to be produced. We want audiences to run to tell their friends about this crazy, irreverent, painfully relatable date night show that they have to go see.
Yes, we can't wait to share the show with you. Feel free to follow us in the meantime on Instagram at loveisdead.musical. We'll be uploading videos there until the festival, and we look forward to meeting all of you, and we feel so lucky to be here.